Okay, hello everybody once again. As I already mentioned, my name is Andrew. I'm a technical engineer from Galileosky company. Today I will be your host for this webinar of how to unlock more functional features for your projects with Easy Logic technology. But before we begin, I'd like to ask if you can hear me and if you can see me well. So if you don't have any problems with the video or with the sound. Okay, thank you. So the sound is great. That's very good to hear. Thank you very much for your feedback. Okay then. So before we begin again, I will make a brief I will tell you what we're going to cover in today's webinar. I will first give you a presentation of what the EasyLogic technology can do. So we'll get acquainted with it, with the interface and the basic functions of this technology. I will show you how to create two algorithms step by step. And comment about each of the algorithms. We'll look at what competitive features there are of our EasyLogic technology, and we will show you what actually ready examples we already have that we can give you for your use or help you build. At the end of the webinar, after the presentation, you can ask any questions you like. This webinar will be actually available for downloading in the end. And again, we will also cover a bit about the upcoming, practically ready course of EasyLogic Basic, where you can get much more info about what this technology can do and how to build algorithms. So I will also cover this in today's webinar. So I think we shall begin with what EasyLogic actually is and how did we come to create such technology. It actually came to us from the integrators and our clients' needs and demands, because as you know, as you face it yourself, there are several challenges and problems that integrators face each day and in many projects. First of all is that more and more clients need more intelligent solutions, so they don't need some part solutions or simple ones, or the ones that require one or two functions of the configuration that is from the factory on the device. They need some massive and full-scale customization for the project, and that is usually hard to do with only the configuration tools from the that are given by default and that are inserted in the device by default. Subsequently, more complicated tasks need more innovative ways to solve and to increase effectiveness. That means that sometimes some research and some development should be done in order to widen the functionality of the devices. Many clients also and many integrators are tending to use the GPS GLONASS trackers not only for simply track building and GPS GLONASS monitoring, but they are using them for more and more tasks fulfillment, for more automation and remote controlling of devices, of vehicles, of drivers, etc., etc. So this also gives the need for more functionality and more freedom for the integrators to imply in their projects. More than that, some clients, some companies provide special special functions, adding special functions for their clients. but they're usually costly, and the same goes for ready systems for remote optimization and remote control technologies. And the last the last challenge is that uh, it doesn't matter how much functions there are in a device. Uh, Sometimes, from time to time, the tasks are so specific that the integrators, well, simply cannot find any universal solutions or tools that are already made, and they need to somehow order them, wait for a long time, and only then receive it and will pay for it. So these are the basic challenges that the integrators face. Uh, and we came up with a solution that now you know as the Easy Logic technology. So that's an algorithmical tool that allows you to create a sequence of actions, reactions, conditions, and results, which actually leads to a full automation of the process of different remote controlling and sending to the server actions and so on. So it's pretty simple. You don't need to, well, in the majority of cases, you don't need to know the programming language or programming skills. You simply drag and drop different elements like conditions, starting devices, starting events, actions, delays, and so on. And well, and that's how you get the functionality that you require on the tracker that didn't support it from the start by default by the configuration. So to be to give more details about that, EasyLogic is a universal tool that brings the concept of the Internet of Things to life. So yeah, the trackers become more flexible. They can be used in different projects that they initially couldn't support, and they're applicable across different industry sectors. So well, we mostly covered what the technology can do in the terms of what it gives to the integrators. So to be more specific, it's solution for expanding the transport monitoring functionality. So it's personnel control, assets control, real-time alerting, and so on. The processes can be automized with the help of Easy Logic, because when you set different conditions and reactions, the system after that begins to work on its own or without any human factor. And well, there are different reactions to different events, so that's very convenient and easy to imply. Yes, so it can be used for remote locations where it is impossible to configure something extra, like not possible to connect to the device and so on. So the system can support a lot of different sensors and devices in it and work well, apart from the human factors and in different remote areas. And of course, it makes our devices like a competitive alternative for a programmable logic controllers, which are usually a lot more expensive and well, simply harder to operate with for usual customer. So as for what the Easy Logic consists of, as I already mentioned, it consists of different blocks that you can drag and drop and create sequences with. So we'll now look at the at the different types of blocks that can be used for the algorithms and algorithm building. So any algorithm should start with event. The events are different. They are depending on the scenario that you wrote, on the algorithm that you want to create. That can be an incoming call, an incoming SMS or command, as well as, and usually the event is just the start of the device. So when the tracker starts up, that's the event that starts the whole algorithm issue. They are usually in green color, the text, and they are always in the beginning. So each algorithm should have a beginning. The conditions are used for different branches of the algorithm. So when you need to divide it in several ways, for example, for when the input is less than a certain value, or when the input is more than a certain value, and so on. You can also combine several conditions in the whole link of conditions, one after the other, and check things practically at the same time. For example, checking the headlights, then checking the seatbelt, then checking the speed limit. And if any has any violations, we have a reaction. If not, then we continue to check. After we have a condition, or before, of course, we can also set certain action. The actions, there is a variety of actions, so this can be activating an output, so sending voltage to the output, sending SMS, making a call, applying a command, playing an audio file, taking a photo, and so on. So there are different types of actions that can be used as a reaction to the to certain conditions, and you can also combine them. So one condition can lead to several reactions that are chained in one sequence. After you've set all the conditions and all the reactions, you can complete the algorithm either totally with the end of the algorithm element, or for example with a delay and returning to the beginning, so-called cycles of in the algorithm. So you can, as I said, you can add additional timeout or save extra points as well as this final element of the algorithm. Okay, so we've looked at the basic types of the blocks. Now I propose you to look at the creating of the algorithm itself. And actually I will show you from the client's point of view how to access the easy logic at all. So let me share my screen. That will take a bit of time, so don't worry. Okay, so please reply me when you see my screen. If you see the configurator program, if you can see. Okay, so my screen is yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. So as you can see, we do not have any Easy Logic tab at the moment because the access to Easy Logic tab can be gained only via the remote configuration account. So in the configurator, there is a button Select Device in the Device tab, and user login and user password for remote device, for remote configuration. If you do not yet have the account, you can always register. It's absolutely free. So you just click here, register new user, and enter your parameters: organization, your full name, your contact phone number, and contact email. After that, you should send it to support@7gigs.ru with the theme that you want to register for remote configuration and you want to get access to the EasyLogic technology. I already have an account, so I will simply enter it. After we access the remote configuration, we can see that an EasyLogic tab appears, so we can access it now. This is how the EasyLogic tab looks like. So you can see on the left side that there are different types, blocks, events, actions that can be dragged and used in the algorithm like this. We have opportunity to name it as we want, to save it locally on the PC or remotely on the remote server, and also open or delete it afterwards and clear the area. And also we can upload it locally via USB on the tracker, just like that. So my point is that I think we can start with showing the how to build an algorithm of checking the seatbelt and the speed limit of a driver. The logic is very simple. So first of all, we set the starting event. Let it be device start because we want the tracker to check it always when the tracker is working. Then we set a condition that, well, we will have here a sequence of two conditions, to be honest. Because first of all, we need to check the seatbelt. The seatbelt can be a sensor that is activated when the seatbelt is clicked. So the voltage here will be, for example, 9 volts or 12 volts when the seatbelt is fastened, and 0 when the seatbelt is not fastened. So first of all, we check the speed limit. As you can see here, when we create a condition, we can use checking different variables. There is a number of variables here that are already existing and that will have their value depending on their name. For example, in the navigation area, we can see the speed variable, which shows us that its speed value in kilometers per hour that is received from the navigation module. That's what actually we need to check here. The condition is, of course, checking if a certain variable is, and then there comes the logical operation. So more, less, more or even, less or even, more or even, and even or not even to a certain value. We here need to check if it's more, for example, than 60 kilometers per hour. So here, if the speed is more than 60 kilometers per hour, then we need to activate an audio message. For example, that the driver should drive slower. We will use the element that is called, just one moment, play audio file. And here, so we connect it with the line from the false, from the even, from the true, because if the speed is more than 60 kilometers per hour, that's a violation. So we get through the true line, true branch, and we play, for example, an audio file that's called overspeeding, where some voice that you pre-record and set to the micro SD card tells you that, tells the driver from the speakers that the speed limit is exceeded. But now we need to understand what to do next. here, because the algorithm cannot end with nothing here. So as we play this file, we now can add a small delay, for example 1 second. The delay and all the values are always set in milliseconds, so 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. We connect it with an arrow and then go to the beginning to checking the condition. So here we have first cycle. Until the speed will be less than 60, it will always go here. So checking the speed, playing audio file, waiting for a second, and again checking speed. So once the speed is less than 60, so that's not a violation, we again check the speed, but only to understand if we are driving or standing. So here, for example, we can simply check that the speed is more than 2 kilometers. Because if we are standing, the speed will be less than 2 kilometers, and then we can also go here. So that will be the same. Second cycle is checking that the speed is more than 60, if not, checking that the speed exists at all, and if not, we just don't do anything. But if the speed is more than 2 kilometers per hour, we will also need and actually okay, we will check now the fastening the seatbelt, because we don't want to give any signal if the seatbelt is not fastened. So for example, the seatbelt is on input 0. We get the input 0 value and check if it's more than, for example, 9 volt. As I already mentioned, 9 volt or more means that the seatbelt is fastened, because then there is some link. If not, then it's not fastened. So more than 9000 millivolt means it's fastened, means everything is correct. We again go here. But if it's not fastened and we have a speed more than 2, then we go to the element change output, and on the output we, for example, have a buzzer connected, and we change it to opened situation. So we open the output, the buzzer starts buzzing. We cannot well, we shouldn't actually leave it like that, because the buzzer will be then keep buzzing for a long time. So we can, for example, make a delay of 2 seconds and close the output. So here, as you can see, there are two variables. We have an output number, because there are different outputs on the trackers, and we have output state. Output state 0 means that the voltage, well, the output is opened, it's close to the ground, well, it's connected with the ground, so the voltage goes to the external device, and the external device is powered. That means that the buzzer will be making sounds. If not, if we close it, then there is no ground, so the voltage is not supplied to the device, and well, the buzzer is silent in this case. What is well important is that we here made a small mistake, which I want now to erase. When we are checking for overspeeding, we still need to check if the seatbelt is fastened. So here I've fixed it. That's actually our first algorithm. So once again, there we have here 4 different scenarios, because we are checking 2 different conditions. Well, 3 to be honest, but well, this one is just for, well, okay, we have 3 conditions here. We check if we are overspeeding. If not, we check Well, if yes, we are playing an audio file. If not, we are checking if we are standing at all or we are driving. If we are driving, then we check, and if we are overspeeding, anyway, we are checking if our seatbelt is fastened. And if not, we make the buzzer make sounds for 2 minutes, and then check, and then, well, after a second, check again. So, and in all cases, doesn't matter what happened, if there was overspeeding or not, after 1 second, we begin checking all that again. Yeah, so that's actually how it works. That's our first algorithm that we've done. Now I will show you one more algorithm that's also pretty simple. I think even more simple. It's about giving access to the engine via RFID card. So as you know, we have functionality of connecting RFID readers via one wire or RS485 or the Weekend 26 protocol, so via the discrete analog inputs. And we can create the lists of trusted keys for the RFID cards or iButton keys. So we can create an algorithm that allows our drivers to start the vehicle only when the trusted key is attached. It's pretty simple again, so we do not change the starting event. Let it be the device start, because that it should be working all the time when the vehicle is working and the tracker is powered. Next, we set a condition that the iButton 0, which is in the digital inputs, is is equal to some trusted value. For example, so I'm now creating the trusted global variable. I can, well, if it's one specific card, then you can simply enter the ID here, and the iButton 0 will be checking the trusted key, which is 823748424. If you have a whole list, then we check a bit in the status field. I will not now cover this because that's a bit complicated, so you can actually look it in the Easy Logic Basic course or ask our tech support for that. But that's simply checking the 4th bit of the status field. So if the iButton trusted key is not, there is no trusted key attached to the RFID reader, then we simply go to delay again, like 1 second, and check again. So that's our first cycle in this algorithm. If we see that the iButton trusted key or RFID trusted card is attached, we then add the action of opening the output. So we simply pretend that the output 0 in this case is connected to the engine. An important addition will be to first of all close the output in case the engine was first opened. So we go to opening the output. So opening the engine, for example, the fuel supplying system for the engine for a certain period of time, and then wait, like for example a minute. So that will be 60,000 milliseconds. So during this period of time, the driver, after attaching his trusted key, can actually turn the ignition on and drive. So now we need to check if the driver actually turned the ignition on. So we, for example, connect the ignition to input 0 and check if it's more than 10 volt. If we see that after a minute the ignition was not started, then we put the output off. We put the output off, and again check if the I button trusted key was attached. If not, so if we started the engine, then we actually drive and check the status of the ignition each 5 seconds until the input is off. So until the ignition is off, after that we again block the engine until the I button trusted key is attached again. So that was the second algorithm that I wanted to show how to build during this webinar. Now let's get back to our presentation, and I think that after that we will look at any questions that you have left during this webinar. So let's then cover the general positive ideas of EasyLogic and how it helps our integrators and our engineers in fulfilling their tasks. If the average installer who does not know how to use EasyLogic gets some complex and untraditional project, he usually faces the problem that he cannot do that. He cannot fulfill this project because of the limited functionality of the GPS tracker. So, and he can not even be sure if the task is possible to solve, because as I already said, there sometimes are unique projects that need unique functionality that not always can be achieved with the standard default options and functions of the trackers. While if using EasyLogic, you can say that, well, there is no problem with that. You can simply make your own functionality using the EasyLogic algorithms and add it in any way you want. So it's pretty easy, as you might already have seen. I've spent like 5 minutes to make each of the algorithms, and well, they are fully functional. They are applicable and can be used for these projects. You can of course create more complex ones, and they will take more time, but usually it's still pretty simple and pretty logical to do. That's actually why we call it EasyLogic. And well, you don't need to have any programming skills. You don't need to be super smart in the technical side of you to use it. So the interface is pretty easy, and yet you can create long and well, quite complex chains of blocks into algorithms and create and meet the demands of your clients and the market itself. It's pretty short in the terms, well, it's the time to implement such solution is pretty short. In terms that you don't need to address your desires and your needs to the company producing the trackers. You can do it all by yourself. You can address simply for the tech support to help you. We always help our clients to build the algorithms they need, or to teach them how to do that. And you make your own algorithm, reducing the long chain of the production stages, of the confirmation processes between the sites, and so on. And simply, well, do it as fast as you need to, because the projects usually are to be implemented pretty fast. If you are good with the programming skills and programming language, then you can actually implement and integrate the new solutions and new devices and sensors by yourself, because EasyLogic also has an element called script that allows using scripting language for full-scale customization and full-scale integration of different sensors and other external peripheral devices uh, by the clients themselves. So we had a couple of, well, I think even more than a couple of cases when the clients integrated the external devices by themselves. And as I already said, you get all the support you need and whenever you need it, because we help all the clients that address our needs with their needs, and they get the support, they get the help. We have the guides and step-by-step tutorials that I will show you a bit later. Plus, we give our personal help on the project once it is needed. Also, we have tech presentations, individual for the EasyLogic tab and Filters tab, so and the configurator solutions and so on. So if you need help with that, you can always also address our tech support team, and you will get it. And we actually have already a certain database, so a certain base of EasyLogic scripts and algorithms that are already ready and created and can be applied for the needs of your clients. So maybe with minor changes, but still the basics is already made. So these are the scripts that we already have, and we can supply them. For protecting construction equipment from theft, there is a script for concrete mixer rotation control. For the temperature regulation, automized for the trackers, we have scripts for sustaining temperature and humidity inside the vehicle and alerting the driver about malfunctions if refrigerator equipment shows not correct temperature values in the refrigerator equipment. For saving electrical consumption, we can check, we have an algorithm that checks the vehicle onboard voltage and activates device sleep mode in case the onboard voltage is low. Also, we have a couple of scripts for online driving style correction. We have scripts for smart anti-theft protection, for example, secure vehicle engine locking, like the one that I showed you with the RFID card, or a sophisticated one about starting the engine only after a certain accelerator pedal pressing combination. We have scripts for custom personnel authorization, like access control according to trusted keys list, again what I already mentioned, and engine locking with light indication due to the time of the day, and some others. Making a phone call via push-to-talk button, for example, that's for safety driving, and remote control of the tracker output via RFID key applications. So you can, if you have seen any algorithms that you think you might use and you can use in your work, in your projects, you can address our tech support team and receive all the support and the algorithm itself. So we can send any of them, but only via request. So we do not have any of those in an open source. We give it by request, but we can give it. So that will make your life a bit easier. Okay, again, as I already mentioned, we are also starting the Easy Logic basic course. It appeared like very recently and is now already accessible via our site. So I will now again share my screen just to show you how to access it. So there will be a link now from our marketing team to how to access this course, and I will show you what can be done to access it. So just one moment. Okay, just one moment. Yeah. Okay, so please tell me if you can see the Easy Logic Basic in English course on your screens. No? So what is now seen on the screen? Can you tell me? Green screen and Skype? Green screen and Skype. Okay, one moment. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, great. Mm, great. Yeah, so our team has sent you a link so you can check it a bit later. I will now just show you that if you want to access the course, you need to push this enroll in course free button and enter your information about the company, about yourself, and so on. So you will see the fields are pretty easy to enter. After you enter all of them, there will be sent a request to gain access to these Logic Basic. You will get account, so account name and password, and after that you will be able to enroll into the course. I will now just simply show you how the course looks like. So it's pretty convenient to work with. Um, because as you can see, all the themes are divided in certain blocks. Like there are general principles of creating easy logic, there are examples different, and so on. After each block and each theme has its own well, this is actually today's webinar document. So as an introduction information, uh, only it has more details, so you can also look at that. And well, there are different instructions, different guides for you. At the end of each theme, there is a test, so a little quiz just to check yourself if you understood everything correctly, and so on. After you complete the quiz, simply push the button complete and continue, and your well, completion goal line will be filling slowly. After you complete all the courses, you will have 100% completion. You can also get a certificate of Easy Logic Basic program, uh, which you can then will share with your colleagues and employer and bosses and so on. In order to get this certificate, you can also address our tech support team after you feel you're ready. So after you complete the Easy Logic Basic course, and you will be provided with a test where you will have different questions about this course. If you complete it successfully with enough number of correct answers for the test, you will then get the certificate, and well, this will be a proof that you are actually a master of using the Easy Logic Basic. Well, the Easy Logic, I mean, that you know the basics of how to use it, not quite the master. Yes, so and actually you will be able to create the algorithms by yourself. So that's probably the end and everything that I wanted to tell you about the basics of working with Easy Logic and how to enhance your projects and work with your projects using Easy Logic scripts. So now I will answer any questions that you have already asked, and if you have any questions after that, we will look. Well, you can ask them, so I will now answer them. So first of all, the questions. Is it possible to crash the device with loops? Well, actually, our Galileosky 7 and based block are pretty good with working with the memory, but yes, if you're creating cycles or loops, it is very recommended that you use a delay element so that the tracker does not check each millisecond or so on, because that actually is negatively influencing the performance of the tracker, and the device starts to work slowly or even can even crash. So always use a delay button when creating cycles so that there is a small delay. You can set any delay, it may be less than a second, it may be 100 milliseconds, but well, it is recommended to have one. Is it possible to mix flowcharts with C-code script, or only full own script or full flowcharts? Actually, in the algorithm where you're using the blocks and charts, there is an element called script. Let me just show it right now for you to see it. Yeah. So this is the element that I was talking about called script. So here you actually write the script itself and or load it from the notepad, which is even more applicable, and then use it inside the script. Oh, for example, like that. It doesn't matter really. And so it works. So yeah, you can mix them. You can mix those elements. Next. Complex schemes with with multiple easy logic scripts or full logic has to be in one script. Yes, you can use either several easy logic algorithms. It's just important for them not to conflict with each other. So use different ports or different variables and so on, because otherwise you can either record different values into one and the same variable and use it incorrectly afterwards, or you can send different commands to one and the same input, and well, in the same way it will be simply messing with the logic of the algorithm itself. But if they are aimed at different sites and are not using the same variables and the same interfaces, then it's alright, and of course you can use multiple. Multiple easy logic algorithms can be installed only on Galileosky 7 or base block. So Galileosky 5, Galileosky 4, Galileosky 2 and 2.5, they can use only one easy logic script at the same time. How to send information via wire alone to device and vice versa. Okay. Well, you can use the GPRS commands from the VLAN to the device if you want to configure it, and more than that, in Easy Logic there is an element called accepted command that you can use to create default command. I mean not non-default, so customized customer command, and send it from the server itself. Thus, you will receive more functionality from the SMS command or server command. Do we provide sensors of TPMS and mixed rotation sensor? We actually do not provide any sensors because we are producing only the trackers and selling only the trackers themselves. So we do not sell any external periphery or external devices. Can we deserialize GPS messages with easy logic? Not quite understand what you mean by deserializing them. We can use the navigation data that we receive from the navigation module from GPS, like the latitude, longitude, speed, mileage, and so on. But so please, date time, for example, current date and current time. But we cannot, I don't know what deserializing GPS messages mean. If I answered your question, then good. If not, then please try to ask it once again in other words. Do we plan to develop an API with all these functionalities? Currently, we do not. We are not developing any any server we are working with the creating a remote web form of configurator, which maybe will use easy logic, but it's now in the process of creation and checking and so on. So I cannot tell you for sure if that will even appear this year or if it will appear at all. So that's for now is just a project that we are working on. So yes, we are planning to develop such functionality, but I cannot give you any specific information about when it will appear or if it will appear at all. How to delete one script if you have multiple scripts? There is a command called clear scripts. I will write it actually in as a response for you. Which can be used for deleting all scripts, and there is command clear script with the arguments name, account name and slash script name to delete one specific script from the device. In this case, all the other scripts will remain on the tracker, and you will just delete the one that you don't need to use. If you want to implement the protocol of pointer with easy logic and extract all the information fields from TCP messages the device sends, which can no actually if you do it by the tracker from the easy logic, first of all, it will not receive these messages as you need them to receive, because the tracker is not a server. It will not parse the messages like that and such long messages, and it does not get the protocol. We have a support of two data transmission protocols on the tracker, which are Galileosky and EGTS, and other protocols cannot be implemented using easy logic. So that is only made via the firmware, so via the configuration of standard protocols. And how many CAN bus messages per second the script can handle? Well, there are different. There is no such a certain amount because there are different delays, and the delay may be up to them. Well, for example, 100 milliseconds or 50 milliseconds or even 10. So, Wolfgang, if you have such specific questions, I think that you can address those to our tech support, and we will work on your script individually, because we have a certain specialist that specializes in the CAN bus reading by EasyLogic as well, so I guess he will help you with that. As for the chat, now questions from the chat again. So as you asked Wolfgang, is this webinar later possible to download? Yes, it is. So you will receive automatically the link to the recording of this webinar after the webinar finishes, and you will be able to look at the recording via this link. Do we think that programming with blocks is more flexible than C#, C++, or Java? Of course not. The programming languages have a lot more flexibility, but there are not so many people who have a skill of working with programming languages like that. So for them, such functionality will be, well, a lot easier than using the professional C# or Java languages. So yeah, as Wolfgang mentioned, if it's no programmer, then it's very convenient for well, for average clients. Okay, Francisco already answered about the API in the questions section. GPS messages, how do you get update, for example, validate button keys. Okay, Wolfgang, about the getting and updating the valid iButton keys. The iButton keys, trusted ones, are stored in the trusted keys list. That's one option. In the internal memory or on the micro SD card. In the internal memory, you can store up to 8. In the micro SD card, up to 1,000. But if you want to use one specific trusted key, you can simply enter it inside the well, 1, 2, 3, and you don't want to change those. You can simply store it inside the algorithm itself. So enter them as variables and have a series of conditions of checking if the iButton field is equal to one of these keys. So both ways are possible, but usually we use checking the trusted key attachment sign inside the status field. That's fourth byte, if I'm not mistaken. I mean second byte, sorry, second byte. So, do we have 4G devices? No, we currently have only 3G, so these are base block 3G and base block 3G Wi-Fi, and Galileosky version 5.1. So 4G, as far as I know, it's not supported yet, but I guess that in some future devices that we will open and we will create, there will be a support. I'm not quite sure now, so I can't say you strict yes or strict no, but well, we are going to have those, but for now we do not have it in our production list. Okay, Honeywell reader RFID will it support? Well, that depends on the protocol. I'm afraid I do not remember now just what protocol the Honeywell reader is using. If it's using Dallas Touch Memory, then sure, we will support it. If it uses any other protocol, then we need to look at the protocol, maybe integrate it, and then of course it will support. That depends on certain factors. So you can address this question to our tech support team again. We'll look at these readers, look at the protocol, and well, if any integration is required, we'll give you advice on how to do that, or you can simply do it with the help of our regional development, well, with our sales managers, with our regional development managers. Okay, do we provide paid script development? We actually do not develop, well, we do not make scripts, well, for some payment. There are certain conditions that we set the priority of this or that integrations, which are usually depending on the amount of devices that are inside the project. So we do not take any extra money for developing the scripts or the algorithms. That's not our policy. We provide it for free, but in order to get the priority of the project, we need to know certain details. So again, if you have any projects that require creating an algorithm, you can address it to your regional manager. Of course, and of course you can ask for help on some certain complex scripts if you need, and we will provide it. Again, as I already told you, our tech support team is always ready to help you with any tasks that you might meet. We actually, well, yeah, you can simply download the configurator program, the one that I showed, and you can register for the remote configuration. So send us the request on our tech support mailbox, and we will provide you access to the configurator remote configuration and the easy logic tab, and you will well, you can test it without actual device, but of course you will not see how the script works until you load it onto the device itself. You can also address your regional manager or our whole regional development department for any test subjects, test devices for this well, emulating issues. In the presentation, some prepared sensors is logic available. Okay, well, we are not dependent on certain sensors brands. We are dependent on the protocols used in the devices, in the sensors. If they are analog or frequency or pulse sensors that are using discrete analog inputs, then it actually does not matter. Only the physical requirements there are for these sensors, but you can find them in the instructions in our guides section on our website galileosky.com. If they are digital, like RS-232, RS-485, one wire, or CAN bus, then we need the protocol compliance. Otherwise, we will not be able to work with the well, some sensors that our trackers cannot even communicate with. So as for recommendations, you can see all the integrated peripheral devices that we have so far on our website. In the guides section. So they are all in the corresponding digital input section, and you can see it there. Also, I would like to mention that the Easy Logic tab that I showed before in the configurator, and that can be for now accessed only via the remote configuration, soon will be available for everyone. So without the logging in into the remote configuration account, so you can well, just watch our news, and you will see soon that this tab is accessed by anybody. Okay, so I can see that's all the questions for now, all the questions for today, and our time is up. So I hope that you were interested in today's webinar. I hope it was entertaining and useful information for you. Again, do not be afraid to sign up for the Easy Logic Basic course that starts today, and that you can access via the link provided in the commentary in the chat section by our specialists. If you need any help with the working on any projects, if you need to get the one of the algorithms that I mentioned in the end of the presentation that we have ready already, and so on, please do not be shy or afraid to contact our tech support team. So we are here to help you and to give you provide you the help you need with the algorithms and so on. Thank you very much for your attention, and good luck. See you next time on our next webinar. Goodbye.